Okay. Just trying to do two things at once. I'm a woman. I should be able to multitask, but I'm like,
you guys are the best.
You know, I've been away for 2 months, so at the moment everything's kind of like, ooh,
no problem.
But it's all good. So yeah, so you have been you've written a book.
Well, written quite a few books.
How many books have you written?
I've written 9 books, but published 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. 9
books, but published 2.
Yes, self-published 2.
So you've got 9 waiting.
Well, yeah.
Okay. So the 2 that you've published so far.
Yes.
Tell me about them.
So my first one is what's my first one called? Hitting the Target: A 12-Month Guide to Distinction. So that's it's actually sold out. So the 2018 version should be coming out, I think, next month. So it's a training manual where the person writes their goals, and I give them strategic coaching steps how to excel and become distinguished. My second book is called The Doorway to Distinction. So my whole brand is based around distinction. It's 200 quotes, and that's available on Amazon Kindle. So Hitting the Target: A 12-Month Guide to Distinction and The Doorway to Distinction, 200 quotes to inspire you to reach levels of excellence. So it's all around my brand of cutting edge distinction.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me stop you quickly. We have a caller.
Okay.
Good morning, caller.
Hello. Hi, sir.
Hi. Who am I speaking to?
It's Lola.
Hello.
Good morning, Lola.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Fantastic. You've been listening?
Yes.
Tell me, what do you think?
About the teenager world.
Yes. Tell me, what are your thoughts?
I think basically it's all about the foundation that you lay out for the children from the beginning. Because when children grow up, and from the time that they're like 6 months, from the time that they're in the womb, the parents need to be ready for that challenge. Because a lot of parents decide to have children because they just feel like everyone is having children now, it's my turn to have children. But they don't understand the consequences and the challenge that they're going to face. And the majority of them, they're not ready for it. And when they do have the children, they start finding it difficult. And the funny thing, those children go through emotional stuff, because it's not about physical, like your own. The guy said, it's not physical, everything is not about physical, emotionally as well. Because I remember when I was growing up, there was physical, there was emotional. But the one I remember most was the emotional, things you that. Because
did you get emotional support, or you didn't?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But
so do you think that's an issue within the black families, that sometimes we're not open emotionally?
Yes, there was, the discipline and all the stuff. Because at the end of the day, I've got 4 children.
Yeah.
And I'm just in my mid-30s, so I'm not even old.
Mid-30s, she's not
young. Yeah. So I'm not, so I've got one. The oldest one is 13 years old. So she's going through that.
The teenager phase, hormones.
The hormones and everything.
Yeah.
And the funny thing, from the time that my children are, are born, I decided that, okay, I'm young and all this stuff, but I decided that I've brought this child to this world, so it's my responsibility and it's my duty to make sure that this child turns out right. It's not the government responsibility. I've had so many drama with social service, and every time they come and try to step on my toe, I always give it back to them. Because at the end of the day, it's my child.
What kind of issues have they come for?
There are so many things. It's because I was, they always come for random things.
Okay.
And when they come for random things, it's because maybe someone is envious of you and they just want to destroy your life. So for the first time they came was because I make a complaint against a company that damaged my stuff in my property. So as a distraction, they make a complaint to social service that I left my child in the bath.
Oh, wow.
So they turn up out of the blue, saying that, there's a sign of neglect. And I said, what sign of neglect? And he went through a phase here that he was social service was telling me what I need to do.
Okay, let's kind of bring it back to, in terms of what is your viewpoint. If you can just summarize for me about the Drop the Knife campaign, the knife crime, what do you think we need to do? So one statement within the family, as a community, what can we do to stop this?
I think it's all about knowing your child and protecting, explaining, motivating your child that being holding a knife does not protect you.
Mm.
Because a lot of children think that, okay, if I hold a knife, if I hold a gun, if I hold this, I'll protect myself. But that is not what is going to protect you. You can have all that, and you're still not going to be protected. It's about being, be able to set a great example to other people. It's about motivating your child that, okay, it's only God that can protect them.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, if God say that, because it's about, for example, God will always make a way where there's no way. Like, you can be in the gun scene and people are shooting, and it's only God that can protect you.
Yeah.
Even if you have your gun, you can't be protected.
Okay.
So it's about you standing firm and not being in the wrong place that you're not meant to be. Because going out late in the night, you're certain,
you're exposed to certain things.
So it's easy for you going to club late in the night, going to club, and also at the end of the day, parents as well need to understand the environment that they're raising their child.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the thing about it.
Thank you.
It's not about those children.
Yeah.
It's not about those children want to be. It's just because they don't have that discipline at home and they don't have someone to talk to them.
Yeah.
Because
so in short, what you're trying to say, if I can summarize, is that the discipline also needs to have the emotional support. You can't just discipline your child without giving them that emotional support.
Yes.
And you can't give them too much emotional support where there's no discipline. So there has to be a balance of the two.
That's it.
Lola, thank you so much for taking the time to call in. And we'll speak soon. Take care.
All right then.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
So that does make a lot of sense.
Yes,
because you were talking about with you had the discipline.
Well, I did, but then there was no emotional. So let me lay the foundation.
Yeah.
So and then my name's Onyanyado, Onyebochukwu, Ifato, Anyado, just to put it out there, So I'm telling the whole world my fully loaded Nigerian name. It's got like 18 letters in it. So I was born and raised in Hackney, East London.
Okay.
To 2.4 family. My mother,
2.4 family,
my father, my sister, and myself.
Okay.
Unfortunately, at a very early age, I think when me and my sister was 6 or 7 or 7, 8, my dad left.
Okay.
He just left. The only memory I have of my dad was one time he was fixing his Citroen car in a car park behind our house, and I was sitting in the driver's seat. I must have been like 4 or 5, and I hit the horn, and he lifted his head and banged his head on the roof of the bonnet or whatever it's called, of the whatever it's called. So he looked around. I thought he was going to hit me, but he started laughing, and that's the only memory I have.
So that was a happy memory.
The only memory, which was a happy one. So he left for 25 years. Thankfully, 5 years ago on Father's Day, me and my dad reunited, and it was the most emotional time of my life. I mean, it was like Justin Timberlake, "Cry Me a River," but in this case, it was "Cry Me an Ocean."
Oh no!
That's all I could. Not seeing my dad for 25 years.
Did your mum ever tell you why?
I knew why. I knew it was a quote unquote. He found a church, like one of them Sabbath day church, whatever. And then from then, he wanted to take us to Nigeria, but my mum was adamant, "No way, you're taking my children to Nigeria." And then from then he just left, and then it was a struggle. We had a black and white TV for so long. My mum used to pawn jewelry to feed us. When everyone has 3-stripe Adidas, we had 4-stripe. Nigerians don't know about the 4-stripe, so I tried to rip off the stripe and it mashed up my trainers, and I got beats for it.
Yeah.
But I went through the education system, as you know, Nigerian parents, in particular African parents, doctor, lawyer, pharmacist. Went to school, it was all right, nothing special. Went to college to study business studies or whatever, passed with a merit. Got to university. Again, I didn't know my purpose. So I'm going somewhere here. I didn't know what I want to be, but just go with the flow. Unfortunately, when I got to the second year of university, I went to Middlesex University. I got distracted and I dropped out, and I began living a particular life called the street life. As young men, it wasn't really at the time gangs, but it was just young men, particularly on the streets of East London, up to no good. Unfortunately, in that period there, 6 of my friends got murdered, and then he got shot dead. And
6 of your friends?
Oh yeah, it was like Wild Wild East,
wow.
and Wild Wild West, and Wild Wild North. So 6 of them got murdered, 3 on my birthday on 2 separate occasions. And then obviously I went to prison, well not obviously, but then I went to prison twice. But I wasn't a bad boy, I wasn't no like killer O or rude boy O or nothing like that. I wasn't
I don't know. Yeah, I am puzzled because if 6 of your friends got murdered, what were you guys doing, and why would you say you are not a bad boy? Because flocks of what is it?
Yeah.
Birds of a feather
Yeah.
flock alike. So what were you guys doing for that to be the case?
So let me go back in time. So looking back now, so I think you talk about Drop the Knife.
Yeah, there's a Drop the Knife campaign going on right now.
I think it should be called Drop the Knife and Pick Up Your Purpose, or Find Your Purpose. Because as young men, how can I go from university to sitting in a maximum security prison? I didn't know my purpose. So what we were chasing after as young men, we were chasing after money, make money, do this, do that, do that, not knowing that we had something great inside of us all the time. And unfortunately, my mum couldn't teach me that. Society definitely couldn't teach us that. Even the education system, and that's what I mentioned, the system, it couldn't teach us that. So like I said, I wasn't a bad boy. I wasn't innocent, obviously, but I wasn't like a bad boy. I was at university, and like many of the young boys that are getting killed now or going to prison, they were at university as well. But going to university doesn't mean you find your purpose. So obviously I went to prison twice, came out. The first time I went, I said I'm not going back. Obviously the second time, I don't think I did listen to myself. I ended up going back, but it wasn't like for long periods. It wasn't nothing serious like that in that sense. It was just me being young and dumb and stupid. So living the street life, as I said, I wasn't a bad boy. I knew.
What is your definition of living the street life? What does that constitute?
It's a criminal life. So obviously wasn't working. Yeah, so just hanging out on the streets,
doing whatever you can.
Yeah,
to make money.
Okay. Yeah. So in my heart, I knew I was fed up of prisons, in and out. I was fed up of the shootouts, nearly getting shot dead. I was fed up of doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
So at the time, the latter stage, I wanted to become a counsellor.
Okay.
I said to myself, well, the only job I can do is becoming a counsellor working in Haringey for some strange reason. The 2nd of November 2000. It's interesting. I said, you know what? I'm going to leave the hood with 30 grand. I'm going to buy my mum a house. Blah blah blah. I left with £3.33. That was what I came out with the hood for. And then I you know the ones there, big dreams, street dreams are made of these. You know the ones there. It was a lie. It's a big lie. And then the 2nd of November 2008, I became a born again Christian. I gave my life to Christ. And the journey started from there. So from now, I'm a leadership speaker, business coach, entrepreneur, speak on different platforms around the UK, around the world, with a message of distinction, in particular for young people. So now going to school, youth organizations, really inspiring, teaching. I'm not a motivational speaker, but really giving them practical inspiration, how to rise up in leadership. And for me, that's your purpose. It's leadership. So one of my quotes I made about 3 years ago was, leadership isn't about age, but rather it's about influence, impact, and inspiration.
Okay, and you start from the grassroots with teaching the kids the importance of this.
Basic life skills, yeah.
Yeah. Hold on, let's try and go on a quick break.
Okay.
And then we'll come back to that shortly
good.
afterwards. On the Discourse with me, Esther Alade, and I have Oyin with me. Oyin loves to say his full name, so I'll give him the opportunity to say his full name and reintroduce himself.
Okay, so my fully loaded name is Onyebuchukwu Ifato Anyado, aka Mr. Distinction. And the way Esther was dancing, like it's a new Afro beach tune or something like that.
So we were talking about you being, went to prison twice.
Yes.
You were at university but still went to prison.
Yes.
And you feel that that's because you didn't fully know your purpose.
100%.
And you feel in terms of Drop the Knife campaign, it should be drop the knife and pick up your purpose.
100%.
So replace it with something else that will give them full meaning.
Yes.
In life, and you go into schools and
Yes.
you teach and you coach children and you talk about the
Basic
three.
life skills.
What is the 3 things you say?
Leadership, legacy, and love.
So leadership, legacy, and love.
Yeah.
And what do you say about leadership? What is it? How do you explain that to them?
That you are a leader, and the way to manifest your leadership is by finding your gifts, your talents, and your passion. So I always tell them a Tupac quote. I always tell them I don't listen to rap music anymore. They're like, you're black, how's that possible? Even a genius answers questions. So I challenge them to ask questions. What's your gifts? What's your talents? What's your passion? Obviously, some of them are not going to know, but that's where we come into the coaching. That's where we work on it. But once they find that, that, hold on a minute, I'm good at graphic designing. Hold on a minute, I'm good at numbers. And I'm a leader. That's when their journey of distinction, of cutting edge distinction, can continue, or can start, sorry.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the education system doesn't teach us purpose or leadership. It just teaches us, it's very one level, it's just geography, history, classical studies, things that are not relevant for young people in the 21st century.
But do you think that's up to the parent to find out what your child is good at and then push them?
Yeah, but unfortunately now we're in a generation where the parents are working hard. They're working 3-4 jobs.
Yeah.
So by the time they get home, they're tired. I remember what I said. Not every single, but young people now, their dinner is eating chicken and chips after school. So by the time they come home, the parents are tired, they're full up, they're going to go to their bedroom on the phone, and the parents are going to be just cleaning or just eating by themselves, ready for work the next day. So it's a system, it's a systematic system that has no development for the family, and it takes a lot of, it's just a grace, and it takes a lot of commitment and understanding to say, hold on a minute, I might be tired, but life is more than working for a rent. Life is more than working for a mortgage.
But then it's difficult because if you don't have enough money, your child still kind of suffers.
Yes.
So what do you do?
And I think that's the issue that arose maybe our parents' generation when they didn't see the future. So they're telling us, work hard, go to university, get a job. But the world was changing at an alarming rate. So we believe, yeah, work hard, get a degree, and life's going to be great. It's not even about that. And it's not even about money either. Because there's parts of the so-called third world country, which I don't really like calling that third world continent, facing the third world. They haven't got no electricity, but they've got that community. So they've got no money, quote unquote, but they've got that common unity.
Okay, so let's bring it back to our caller Lola when she said it's about emotional support.
Yes.
And we know maybe within black families we're not open with our emotions.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was brought up by my sisters. And I don't know if I ever got a hug or anything like that. It was not that, oh, how are you really doing? Sit me down. What's really going on? I don't think I ever had that. And I think that's really, maybe that is what's missing. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you 100%. It's not just about discipline. It's that emotional love. It's that communication. And unfortunately, again, and I can only use my family. My mum, right now, my mum's the best. The way we communicate, she's the best in the world. Growing up, particularly maybe that generation that came over from Africa, they didn't know what love was. They didn't know, so they didn't know how to communicate with us. So they just said, shut up, sit down, go to sleep. What are you doing? Not knowing it's more than that, you know?
Okay. So I read an article earlier on from The Guardian, or in The Guardian, and it said knife death amongst black people should cause more outrage. And it was saying that a Met police officer said that the knife death's not causing the collective outrage that it should be because majority of victims are from black communities. And this from a top police officer, Martin Hewitt. So he's an assistant commissioner at the Met office. And he said that although the police are putting enormous effort into tackling knife crime, not enough preventative work was being done. What are your thoughts on that?
Believe me, there is outrage in the community. The only reason why there's not enough outrage being heard, as the gentleman said,
Junior
said, is that, well, I believe there's not enough people of influence. There's a lot of outrage. So, for example, my church we'll have community units across London when we decided enough is enough. We have to now mobilise, go out, bring young people in, train them, mentor them, discipline them, do what you have to do. So there is outrage. And at the end of the day, the police are there to, whether we like it or not, the police are not there to be emphatic with us. They're not. They're there to stop crime. So there is a lot of outrage. Believe me, there's a lot of outrage, 1,000,000,000%. But it's not just being heard at that level where they think. And who's going to, we don't want Anta Dek or Mark Zuckerberg or Prince William to be outraged for us. No, but there are people in the community that we are outraged, and we're doing a lot of stuff to say.
Is there anyone that stands out that you think is really fighting the cause that's known?
Definitely. Well, what known as in well known or famous?
that has that celebrity status, I guess, that can really champion this.
But the 90% of celebrities, they don't care. Let's be honest. Why should they care? Like who then?
I don't know. I'm asking.
No, okay, there isn't. I haven't. No, I haven't. Why should they? Unless you came from that background, or you really emphatic with young people. Not all young people are innocent, but young people are hurting. So there's not. I mean, as I said, my church is doing great stuff. You're doing great stuff, giving us a platform. But we don't have to be. I don't think we have to be famous.
No.
People like Junior, he's having an event tonight. He's doing great stuff. Yeah. So we are angry in ourselves. We do want to make a change. So we don't necessarily have to be famous. Who can be famous? Idris Elba is a great man, but he's doing only so much he can do. Who else is there? I don't even know anyone else. and that's the thing.
So what was the turning point for you?
So I became a born-again Christian, 2nd of November 2008. But then also I found my purpose.
How did you find your purpose? Did you meet somebody? Did something come to you? What was that process?
Going through the process.
What was it? So because you have to get to a stage where you're actually thinking, I can't do this anymore.
So I knew, as I said, I wasn't like a bad boy. So I knew I couldn't be. I keep saying that, you know.
Yeah.
People never believe me for any reason. I know I'm like a criminal. Is that what you're trying to say? And I've got a pocket square. And you still feel like a criminal. No, but so obviously, I had to go back to college. Got my I think qualifications in level 1 counselling. So I said, okay, I'm going to be a counsellor. Then I found out about life coaching. So obviously through mentoring, through training, through excitement, through discovery, through asking questions, through surrounded with people that were going somewhere, with positive people, that is. It wasn't luck. It was just step by step, process by process. And many people didn't want to go through that process or don't want to go through that process. So I knew in my heart, my destiny or my legacy or my leadership was always helping people.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. So when I tell young people in particular, your vision is connected to your gifts, your talents and your passion. I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah.
So when I was living the street life, the only job I saw myself doing was becoming a counsellor. But now, quote unquote, I'm a kind of counsellor.
Okay. I think for me, I grew up in Southwest, so Brixton.
Sorry to hear that. I mean, glad to hear that.
Sorry to hear that. Brixton did me well.
Of course.
And there was a stage where I was probably getting into that. And I think for me, it was like, sometimes you are the bully, because if you're not the bully, you become bullied.
Yeah.
So you almost have this defense mechanism. And I think if you've come from a background where maybe there isn't much in terms of finance and you don't have the best of the best, then there's a persona that you then, go into, because you're like, I've got to be tough.
Yeah.
I might not have the best of the best, but I don't want people to come and start picking on me because of that.
Of course.
Because you know what children are like. So you I don't know, adopt this character, I guess, and then you form alliances.
Of course.
With people in the same situation as you. And I think maybe that is what's happening, where communities or families that don't financially have enough money, and the children don't possibly have the latest garms, as they would say.
Of course.
So then there's this comparison thing, and rather than, I don't want to be bullied, I have to put on this tough persona, because I don't want people to come and push me around. And my saving grace, I think, was that I was sent to North London.
Wow.
I always say it's like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air story. I was shipped off to my auntie and uncle
Wow.
in Arkley. So it was like Arkley Village.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's between High Barnet and Boreham Wood.
Oh, so you're posh.
And it was like, and then I had this auntie telling me, we don't say in it. We say isn't it?
Wow.
And things like that. And I guess for once I had someone who took interest. My uncle sat me down, spoke to me, and really empowered me and said, you are able to do well.
Wow.
You're intelligent. For you to be able to get A's and B's in your GCSEs and you didn't really study, means you have potential. Don't waste that. And I think it took somebody really empowering me and believing in me and sitting me down and saying, actually, this is where you can be if you put your head down.
Of course.
So I think sometimes surrounding as well, if you can't see it around you, you don't see the possibility of it.
Of course.
There's only like 1% of people who actually come out of it and make it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe it's like bringing these children out of the situation somehow for them to see their true potential.
A billion. You summed it up in a beautiful, awesome, intelligent way. And that's what it is. I think Tupac had a book. I like quoting Tupac once in a while, but I prefer to quote myself.
But you don't listen to rap anymore.
I don't, but the guy was a lyrical. It was more of a thing. He said something, the rose that grew from the concrete. So every young person, they weren't born criminals.
No.
They weren't born gangbangers. They weren't born drug dealers or fraudsters or killers or whatever. But they're a rose that brought up in a government curated, can I say,
environment.
Of course. That's why you see now chicken and chip shops all around schools now in the inner city.
Really?
Of course. You don't see that in Mayfair. You don't see that in High Street Kensington. So come on, man. We know things happen for a reason. It's not by luck. It's properly induced. And I love what you said about bringing them out of the environment. So when I go into schools, I'm bringing something into their environment they've never seen before. So here they see a young black man that can dress like them to that sense. I can speak at their level, but I'm taking them to places they've never been to in their mind.
Because sometimes people feel they don't belong there because this is my culture. This is how we act, or this is how we should be.
Of course,
as black people.
Yeah.
So why should I, aspire to be something else?
Of course.
It's really. I think like Junior Spence said, it's a mental thing as well. It's about empowering people mentally.
100%.
But I am so sad or saddened that this is still happening in this day and age. Like,
but do you know what, Esther? This not live crime, but crime has been happening in London for 300-400 years. It's nothing new. The days of Victorian days.
Yeah, but why knife crime, and why do our children feel that's the only way? I don't know. Like the fear factor of holding a knife and thinking, just think about the consequences. Should you use that knife?
But it's be kill or be killed. Unfortunately, that's.
But where does that come from?
The streets. As I said, no young person was born a criminal, right? But every young person, when you're growing up, Johnny, sit down. Nope. So they've already got a defense mechanism. Johnny, stand up. Nope. So when you're born in that environment, when there's no positive role models, there's no discipline, there's no accountability, there's nothing that really inspire you, you're just gonna go with the flow. So this knife issue is happening. I do talks in Newcastle, Stoke, where there's no black people. Believe me, there was knife crime. Remember, Scotland, Glasgow, at the time had the most knife crimes, murders in the whole of Europe.
Oh, it did, and that's a different community from us.
That's a whole different community.
So how did they combat that? How did they stop that?
From my understanding and learning, it was bringing it. The community decided to come together.
Okay. So
I think us as it's slowly happening by now, we have to come together, and we know we've heard it before. But should I tell you something about our community and other communities? I went to an Indian restaurant the other day, very nice Indian restaurant, and one thing I've noticed about Indian restaurants is everyone plays their position. It's the same man that comes and takes you to the seat is different from the one that brings the starter menu. The same one that comes and takes your main menu is different from the one that gives you the bill. So everyone knows their position. But unfortunately, in our community for so long, everyone wants to be the leader. Everyone wants to do this. Everyone wants to do that. No one wants to submit, and that's the issue. You can't. I'm not saying that we all have to be submissive, but at the same time, you have to follow someone that's done it, doing it, and making the moves. Remember, young people who has their ears will determine who they become.
Ooh, who has their ears?
Yeah, feel free to tweet that though. Still,
will determine who they become.
100%.
So whoever they're confiding in will help that transition. Okay. And Junior also made a point that based on the children he's been working with, it's because there's a lot of absent fathers. Do you think that was also the case for you? Because maybe you didn't feel you could have confided in your mum, and maybe there was resentment, or there was like, why is my dad gone? Why is he not here? The sense of not feeling wanted. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of what could have made you want to live the street life, or be part of a so-called gang and whatnot.
I think definitely, looking back now from experience, I think 100%. I think every male, in particular, every child needs a father figure.
Yeah.
But obviously, that wasn't there. My mum, the best mum in the world, she tried the hardest, but I was chasing after something. And I think even if my dad was there,
were you chasing after that because there wasn't much money in the home, and you wanted to?
But at university, I got my grant and student loan, so I had money. At that time, I had like £2,000, and I went raving. Everyone thought I was the man. I was buying champagne, dancing with like 15 women around me. Can you imagine? So I had money at that time. You understand? So obviously, and that's why I said it's drop the knife, but find you and pick up and run with your purpose. So yeah, definitely. But remember, living the street life when my dad wasn't there, Tupac was my father figure. The rappers were my father figures, and when I look back now, they weren't. Not every single one of them, but not every single one of them was saying anything positive. So I said, who has your ears determine who you become. So if I'm listening to someone that's always talking about make money, take money, take money, make money, make money, take money, take money, look at women in this way, live that particular lifestyle, that's what you're going to become.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
We have a caller.
Yes.
Let's just try and see who's calling. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Who am I speaking to? Morning.
This is Jean Obianga.
Hello, how are you?
Good morning, Jean.
Very good. I wanted to surprise you a little bit this morning.
What are your thoughts, Jean?
Well, first of all, I just want to call to do two things. First of all, to thank you and to celebrate what you've been doing in the community.
Thank you.
We only have, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know everybody in London, but I must say that we must recognize what you do in the community as a spokesperson, and in every ways, in many ways, and I think we were really lucky to have you in the community to be a voice for us. So secondly, for your guest, I don't remember his name; it was very long.
Oni.
The short version, Oni.
I'm really impressed by what you've been doing and what you actually said. I must say I'm speechless because you're very articulate and the vision and what you say is so true in terms of leadership and telling the children what they can become, because everything is related to...
Jean, just to warn you, I'm going to interrupt you quickly because
cool.
We're going to go on a news break.
Okay.
For like 3 minutes, so if you hold that thought, and then we'll come back to you. So are you able to hold on?
Yes, I can, obviously.
Okay, perfect. Hold on.
Yeah.
ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan alternative explanation.
Obesity could become the leading cause of death from cancer. Cancer Research UK says that while fewer people are smoking, more of us are becoming dangerously overweight. Lifestyle changes can reduce the chances of developing the disease. Sue Deans, diagnosed with malignant melanoma twice, has this warning.
I wouldn't want that for anybody because it's a terrible thing. To be diagnosed with cancer is just really frightening, terribly frightening, and, it changes your whole outlook on life.
After a week in which 8 people were stabbed to death in London, there's a new government campaign to try to cut the number of attacks. The £1 million social media initiative will tell stories of young people who've previously carried blades. Next has posted an 8.1% fall in annual pre-tax profits. They've dropped to £726 million, but online revenue grew by 9.2%. EasyJet says it'll be speaking to 2 of its pilots after they were filmed playing a Snapchat game while 30,000 feet in the air. A video published online shows the co-pilot completing paperwork with a virtual owl dancing on the screen beside him. And rains finally brought an early end to play on day 2 of the first test between England and New Zealand's cricketers. There was a long delay before proceedings were abandoned, with the hosts on 229 for 4 in Auckland. That's the latest. I'm Laura Safe.
ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station.
More news, more information. This is ABN Travel News.
So this is the travel news now. This is a travel news brought to you by Travel for Media. M25, A296, A225 junction, possible delays, and this is because there's a road traffic collision alert at M25 and anti-clockwise at junction 2. And A2 New Cross Road, Lewisham. There is a traffic lights are not working at this location, and this is a traffic light alert for A2 New Cross Road, SE14, all directions at the junction of Primroy Street. The traffic lights are not working at that location, so approach with caution, it says. And A406 North Circular Road, both directions at the junction of Bowes Lane and Lane 2 of 2 is blocked eastbound following a collision. There seems to be a lot of collisions this morning, so take care as you are heading out that way. And Enfield, A406, Enfield Bowes Road, lane 2 of 2 is also blocked eastbound following another collision at the A406 North Circular Road on both directions. And St James's Park, as I said earlier on, there's changing of guards at Westminster, so there will be a bit of delay on that side. And Western Avenue Ealing Target roundabout, there's a 30 miles per hour speed limit in operation during survey works being taken place. And A10 Shoreditch High Street, 24-hour road works with lane restrictions taking place. And on the rail, there is amended Gatwick Express service on Saturday 24th and Sunday the 25th of March, and services will run 15 minutes between London, Victoria and Gatwick Airport. Yes. So that's it for the rail. And then on the underground, all good services now, so everything is all good. And that is the travel news brought to you by Travel for Media. Now I'm just going to go straight back onto the line, and you are listening to the Discourse if you've just tuned in. We've got our guest in the building, Oyi, and we have a caller on the line, Jean. And Jean, I held you for like 4 minutes. Sorry about that. But I hope you still have your point for Oyi. And what was it that you were saying?
Yes, I think the way he articulates, the process he went through and how to help, young black boys and girls to become someone, have a kind of vision. It's absolutely spot on, and I really praise what he's doing. But from my point of view, something which always surprised me, in fact, I grew up in Africa, so I've got a different perspective.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Africa, in Cameroon, and I saw something very strange in Eastern London one day. I'd never seen it before, and I was really shocked. So I was on my way to work, and I was living in Canning Town at the time. And I saw young black people leaving school, and they were playing football in the middle of the street.
Okay.
How can, I was so shocked. I never seen in my life. And I was like, how can you do this in the middle of the street? And the car were passing by. And I have to stand up and say, what the hell are you doing?
Did you tell them to stop?
Everyone else was looking.
Okay.
Passerby, people, whoever. No one dared to tell them what the hell are you doing. So we give me an indication beyond the knife crime, issue, and exactly what you get said is that a lot of these young boys, for whatever reasons, have no purpose. I don't know where the parents are, and I'm really concerned. And I think what he does is really the way we should tackle the problem. And that's the reason why I used to say in Africa we don't have time to waste life. Life is too short. People are fighting for the life. I think some people here, young people, are too spoiled, I think, and they don't even realize it for whatever reason. And I think what you get is doing is very important, and that's the right thing to do. And because at the end of the day, it's your life. If you take someone else's life, well, that's a shame. At the same time, you go in prison, you destroy your own life. So it's not a win-win solution.
And I think that's what we need to probably emphasize and let them know that this is your life.
Yes.
Exactly. At the end of the day, it's your life. But you take a life, someone will take your life, someone another. You're going to go in jail. And I think what you get is absolutely stunning. And I think we need much more role model. They need much more role model. It can be you guys, it can be yourself as well. I think as a community, I think just to finish from my point, as a community, people, we must stand together and become role models for our young boys and girls. I think that's the way people start to discover that, you're wasting your life and it's not worth it.
Okay. Jean, thank you so much for your call.
Thank you, Jean.
And taking the time out to call us.
Au revoir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He says au revoir.
And maybe offline, please give me his details. I mean, I will try to, because he's a great guy. I mean, you know what, when you meet very great people, maybe offline we can find a way to exchange numbers with your guests.
Of course.
He's an incredible guy.
Oh, thank you, Jean.
Yeah, I think we should be able to keep in touch and do something.
Thank you, Jean.
All right, take care. Have a good day.
Au revoir.
Bye.
That's Spanish, by the way. I mean French.
It's au revoir. Okay, so we kind of looked at each other when we heard the news about the 1 million.
Oh yes.
Campaign on social media.
Yes.
What do you think? 1 million social media campaign. When there's grassroots projects in place that need funding, bearing in mind the governments have actually closed a lot of youth clubs.
It's ridiculous.
And yeah.
So let's break it down. So we just heard on the news that the government are now doing an initiative, quote unquote, where £1 million is going to be spent on social media to stop knife crime. £1 million.
Yes, it's a lot of money.
Social media. I said they're going to find the names of the street guys who live in that street life, whose social media is under an alias, and they're going to say, yeah, put down the knife, because £1 million. Let me give you an example. My church, SPAC Nation, we have 15 community units around London, and each community unit we meet up on a Monday or Tuesday, and what we do, we obviously, it's a church, but we bring young people in, and we just don't deliver them or save them. We give them opportunities to find work. We give them opportunities to understand mentorship. We give them opportunities to start a business. We give them startup funding.
Okay.
So when the government say, yeah, £1 million, it's a waste of time, effort and money. So we've got 16 community units in Enfield, in Tulse Hill, in Woolwich Royals, in Peckham, in Brixton, all across London, where we're getting young people, gangbangers, young people who've got no hope, who no direction, and we're mentoring them, we're loving them, we're giving them leadership, giving them opportunities. Look at Mark Zuckerberg, the guy from Google and Starbucks. These people that found up these companies, what distinguished them wasn't having that idea, but they got money for their startup capital. So many of our young people, they've got ideas, they've got dreams. They want to become a mechanic or an accountant or a hedge fund.
Yeah, but they probably don't see or know how that's going to happen.
So through the community units, that's what we do. So when the government's saying they're doing £1 million, £1 million.
I would like to know how they came to that conclusion where the research came from, that would be the best platform to engage. I think it would be good to have that backup. Okay,
Yeah.
we're putting this £1 million to social media because this is what we found.
Okay, government, if you're listening, give me £950,000 and we can guarantee you $1 million. You know how much money that is? You know how many young people we can take off the streets and give them startup money to start a business? Because like I said, I remember when it began.
But is it only about starting business, or is it about actually, let's get these children in terms of mental health? There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of not feeling belong, like you don't know where you belong. So maybe that's what it is, like finding initiatives where actually you're renewing their mindset.
That's what we do every Monday and every Tuesday. So we're getting hardened, and that's what I'm saying. We understand because we know where we came from.
Yeah.
But the streets harden your heart. On the way here, I was thinking when America or Britain go to Afghanistan and they're fighting their war, who's going to be more harder? It's going to be the Afghanistans, because you're coming to my country and I'm going to defend with everything I've got. But these are young people in London, one street against another street. Their hearts are hardened. So when they come into our community units, they're showing, look, let me give you an example. A few years ago, I was speaking at a college in North London, about leadership, blah, blah. And there's a young boy in particular that kept looking at me. You know, I had a bit of a screw face. He kept looking at me, I was like, what's going to happen? I don't fight. I'm a skinny guy. Afterwards, we began talking. I didn't even know that was Mark Duggan's nephew, the guy that
passed away.
And then I hugged him, because that's what we do. I hugged him. And he said, Oni, I've never ever had a hug from a man before. So yeah, it's not just about giving them money to start up a business. No, you go through the process of mentorship. You go through the process of being discipled as a man, as a young person. These are the do's and don'ts you don't do. So when I'm going to school and I'm speaking to young people, first of all, take your hands out of your pocket. Secondly, don't chew in front of me. Thirdly, do not slouch in front of me. So I'm sowing seeds of discipline in them. You understand? Because where are they going to get that? From their music videos?
True.
No.
That's all glamorized. We have a caller, another caller. Good morning, welcome to the Discourse. Who am I speaking to?
It's Lola again. I called earlier.
Oh, hi Lola.
Good morning, Lola. Lola.
I was just going to comment on your, say on the £1 million, because the funniest thing about young people is, especially Africans in general, it's like money is just like, because I'll give you an example. You can take someone from the ghetto and put them with the prince. If they don't change the mindset of things, they will always be the same. So it's about changing mindset first before you can now say you want to give them £1 million. They will just waste it. You can give it to one child and they will blow it up. Money can go anytime. So it's about changing, like, I think the environment, like for example, when I was growing up and I was going to start having children, I knew that where I was staying would not be great for my children, and I moved from East London all the way to West London because I don't want my children to be raised in that kind of environment. And being moved there from that environment, moving to West, it opened my eyes to a lot of things, and that's where I got the, because they say people show me your friend and I'll show you who you are. And all the stuff. It's the kind of people you hang around with will determine what your future will be and all the stuff. And your network, the kind of people you hang around, the kind of people you spend most of your time with.
Determines your network.
Sounds so familiar.
I think I'm going to property side of things now. So people you socialize with will determine your future. And so it's all about changing the mindset first before saying that it's just like a lot of people go to uni because they just want to get the money.
But Lola, can I say something, please? And you're definitely right about changing the mindset, but unfortunately, we've had too many people with the wrong mindset trying to change the mindset of the young people. We've had people who don't know how to emphasize, with people who've never really achieved anything, people who don't understand leadership, who are trying to change the mindset of the young people, and that's why there's been no results. So we've had
not like changing and saying that they're wrong and all this. It's about letting them see the end of the tunnel. Like there's better things here than just the money. Because when you focus on money, money is just a paper, basically.
Of course.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you guys there. Hold the thoughts.
Yes.
Hold the argument, and let's just go on a quick ad break.
Okay.
The Discourse on ABN Radio, engaging our community with discerning conversation.
Join me, Esther Alade, on The Discourse, where we will be redefining perspectives with authentic analysis.
Join The Discourse from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on ABN Radio.
This Friday and every Friday on ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station. What do you like for breakfast?
Well, it depends what mood I'm in. If I'm happy, I like a little bit of porridge with banana because I'm feeling healthy. If I'm in a...
Me, I like a bit of fruit. Nice apples, sliced apples.
I love a cinnamon and raisin bagel, some scrambled eggs, and a...
I say nice English breakfast. So I like the fruit and orange.
I like wholemeal bagel with a bit of cream cheese on it and some bacon and then some avocado. And on the side, I like to have
fried egg with bacon, with baked beans. Toast.
I normally take my cocoa. Yeah, I'm a Ghanaian. I'm a typical Ghanaian, so I like my cocoa.
I'm not too sure. I normally don't eat breakfast.
It doesn't matter how you like your breakfast, or you may not like breakfast at all, but you will love the sound of your radio when the breakfast is Afropolitan. Watch out for the new ABN Radio Breakfast Show with Efuadum and Abeye Bonsu. ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart ripped out of a family. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife. Save your life.
Okay, welcome back to a Discourse. So Lola, you were saying, yeah, I'm not sure. I think I've lost track of the argument you were both.
Yeah, so and I agree with you. It's not just about money, but if you really remember what I said at the start, I said drop your knife and find your purpose. And many young people don't want to go through the process, hence they're doing what they're doing on the streets. So definitely, money is a byproduct of finding your purpose. So when I speak to last year, I spoke to 11,000 young people around UK. This year alone is 4,000 plus. So I always tell them about purpose, your gifts, your talents, and your passion. Before you can be value, you have to find your value. Before you can even make money, you have to be a solution center, and that solutions, becoming a solution center, will be coming either as an employee or as an entrepreneur. But the issue is, many of our young people, they were raised in abject poverty. So the only thing now they see on social media, the only thing they see on the music videos, the only thing they see on TV is the flash lifestyle. Not knowing. It's not even about that. It's about being purpose. It's about, I call it the 3 L's: leadership, legacy, and love. When you really combine that and apply that, and I'm not talking about overnight success. I've been doing this for nearly 6-7 years, and it's only over the last 2 years I've been making money. I've been evicted from my own house. I had to live in my mother's house at this age, but I never lost my vision, my legacy, my leadership, or my love, because I saw the bigger picture. So when you're saying it's not about money, definitely it's not about money, but it's a byproduct. So obviously, like, I'm here on this radio station, Esther's going to give me £25,000 to share my insight, right?
No, okay.
Okay, maybe not. So okay, it's definitely not about money. She looked at me like, oh yeah, no. Okay, I'm wrong. It's not about money. It's not about money. but I think once a young person finds value and understands about bringing value, the money will come. And that's why Esther asked me, what was it like? I had to go through the process. You know, I had to go through the process. I've been evicted twice. I had to move back into my mum. I remember the days I couldn't afford 20p spaghetti from Tesco's. I wrote my first book in 2010, Hitting a Target, the 12-month guide to distinction. In my mother's house, I didn't have £1 to buy A4 paper. I didn't have a laptop. I had to use scrap paper. I had to go to the internet shops and beg them to use their services.
I'm going to come in right there.
Yes.
You see, like, for example, now, when people... a lot of young people nowadays, they're so spoiled in a way that they think everything is meant to fall on their lap. And when things don't go their way, they think that the life is not fair. And what I always say to my children when they say, oh, mommy, that's not fair, I say, life is not fair. Because if life is fair, I will be very rich right now with all the work I do. But at the end of it, we just have to, like, take what we've got and make the best out of everything that we have. And we have to work out, not like physical work out. We have to sacrifice, because a lot of young people, they're so into social media that they get and they don't know the majority of the stuff that they see on social media is just cover up. because they see people flashing money, they see this, they see that, and they think that those people got there easily.
Okay, let me ask you. Let me stop you there. Let me ask you in regards to the news about the £1 million that the government's put into social media campaign. Do you think that would work then? Because you just said that a lot of young people are on social media.
It's not going to work.
Huh?
It's not going to work.
Well, you just said a lot of young people are on social media.
Yeah, they're on social media for just to see what other people are doing, not to see, like, for example, how they can turn things around in their life. They're not. For example, what sells in the on the news, what sells on the newspaper is the gossip, the good gossip. That's what they want to. They're interested. They're not interested how you tell me to drop a knife or how you do. So it's about what he's doing right now. That's how those kind of stuff will work. It's not about social media. It's about, for example, he's going to show the service that he's providing. There's a lot of young people that need to get involved in that, but some of them, they just think that it's not for me, until they get shot.
So let me ask you, you have a son as well, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a son.
Okay, or your daughter. So let's say you figured there was something going on, and how would you address the issue? Let's say you actually went into their rooms, you found a knife or a gun. What would you do? What would be your thought process, and what would you do? Okay, for example, if I find a knife in my daughter's room, first thing I would excuse the rest of them, because I want it to be one-on-one. Yeah. Because, for example, if the other ones are there, she would be too embarrassed to even speak. I would sit her down and I say, what do you need it for? Then she has to tell me what she needs it for. Then I will now say, okay, because you've got this, does it mean that it's 100% guaranteed that you're going to be safe? What about all those people that have had those guns and they're still shot? They still stab? It's about having, for example, I'll give a simple example. My daughter, my middle one, she was only 10 years old. A guy approached her on the street saying that she should take a bike. She should take a what? Take a bike, like, it's just like, take the bike. And my daughter said, no, I don't want it because it's a stolen bike. Oh, take a bag. Okay. Bike, you know, the little bike. Yeah. Bike. I don't want it. Yeah. Oh, okay. No. Then she said, no, I don't want it. Then the guy said, why? Then she now said, because I know it's a stolen bike and you're trying to put it on me, then they'll come for me. And the guy said, how do you know that? And I was going to say, your face is reading it. Then the guy was like, just take it. Then she said, okay, don't worry, I will take it, but I'm going to report it. Okay, but that's because you've taught her that. That's what I'm saying. Okay. It's all about teaching your children on how to be smart about things. It's not about the word, the word, if you don't teach your child, the word will teach them. Yeah. That's basically it. So people need to stop pushing everything back to the world. And people that you need to set an example to your child and say that whatever you see on the street, that it's not. For example, now a lot of young people, they starve themselves because they want to be stealing like this person, but they don't know what the person is going through. They picture the perfect marriage, but they don't know what is going on in marriage until they start spreading rumors about divorce. Anyway, we're going on to a different topic there. But Lola, I'm going to have to stop you. Yeah. It's portrayed in so many things, and they're falling into it. Yeah. And they think that life is easy, and they want to get life easy. And when they don't get it... But then it's not up to social media to educate and teach our children. Like you said, it's up to us and the families to do that. So Lola, on that note, thank you so much once again for your time, and we do very much appreciate your opinion. Thank you. Have a lovely day. It's not about money, okay? It's about their mindset. They need to understand. It's not about money. It's about their mindset. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so that was Lola telling us that it's not about the money. Yep. It's not about the money.
But they're saying that
it's about the mindset.
But then once your mindset's changed, and that's what I'm saying. We money is a byproduct of having a right mind. And when I'm talking about right mind, critical thinking. These things are not taught at home. These things are not taught in school. Critical thinking that, people say, work hard. In 2018, it's not even about working hard anymore. It's about working smart, innovative thinking, critical thinking outside of the box. These are the skills that, unfortunately, many of our young people, they have got because they're using it in a different way, but then they need to put it on the next level.
Okay. I'm going to play a song by Vera Tunes.
Okay.
Vera Tunes is going to come on soon.
Yes.
Another guest is going to join us, but this is one of her songs. So let me know what you think. It's called Ife. That I'm going to put it right back on and let's hear it again.
Wherever you go, I feel
So that was the lovely Vera Tunes. Temini tire, tireni temini, ifere bamio. I love that. So, what's the word? Sultry?
Yes, and for those that don't understand, neither do I. So, but it means when
you didn't understand.
I'm Igbo.
Okay, it means your love is killing me.
Hey.
Yeah, ifere bamio, your love is killing me.
Wow.
And something else. That's a bit of a pun here right now because we're talking about knife crime.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but remember I said the 3 L's: leadership, love, and legacy. So it's all tied into one.
Okay, so we were talking to Lola, and she was talking about mindset, environment, home.
Yes.
All makes a difference in terms of trying to combat this.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and we said that more or less anyway. I think there's a lot of talking, but how are we going to action this? How are we going to make sure this is actually the case?
I think there's a lot of action, thankfully, going on. As I mentioned, my church, we've got the community units around London, and we just have to go all out and just do it. And just, I think Junior mentioned it. It's not about competition. You know, talk is cheap, but distinction is expensive. You know,
talk is cheap, but distinction is
feel free
expensive.
to tweet that as well. It's expensive because anyone can sit behind there and say, "Oh, it's not about this." And that. It's not easy. Can you imagine going into an environment when all a young person knows for the last 5-7 years is carrying a knife or carrying a gun? You can't come there with measly talk or yeah, if it's going to be right. And that's why I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not here to motivate people.
Yeah.
It's leadership, it's love, and it's legacy. And it's not just my leadership. It's not just my love or my legacy. I'm imparting on them how to rise up in leadership, how to love yourself and love others, and how to leave a legacy. So,
okay. Let me stop you there. Let's go on a quick break, and we'll be right back with those points.
Brilliant.
This is ABN Radio, Afrocentric, Cosmopolitan. We are London's Afropolitan station.
ABN TV, your favorite black channel, has launched ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station. In 4 easy steps, you can listen to ABN Radio on DAB in your car and home. Step 1. Select DAB from the menu on your car stereo or choose DAB from your car's media center. Step 2. Press Auto-Tune, Auto Scan, or the retune button for a full scan. Step 3. Select ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station. Step 4. Relax and enjoy the very best in Afrobeats, gospel, R&B, hip-hop, talk shows, and more. Listen and engage with our amazing presenters. That's just 4 easy steps. If you've got only FM and AM receiver in your car, you can obtain a DAB converter from High Street Electronic Stores. Call 0208 671 9777 for more information. ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station.
Tune in to the new ABN Breakfast Show on Monday from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. The London City Show has evolved into an all-new breakfast show with sizzling slices of juicy newsy current affairs served with junior jumbo-sized convos on issues you should be aware of. What did I just say? The ABN Breakfast Show, the Afropolitan breakfast you can't afford to miss.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart of the family ripped apart. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred or respect. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife and save a life. Gently, slowly, supporting all family and young people.
So welcome back to the Discourse. With me this morning is Oyin. Oyin's been here since 8.
Yes.
You're hanging in there. Thank you
for the opportunity.
And we also have Pastor Grant now joining us. And he is a neogenics education person. I think I've messed that up completely. I was going to really try and So you specialize in neogenics education.
No, neogenics education is the name of the business.
Oh, I'm sorry. So break it down to our audience, please.
Right. First of all, probably share who I am, and then probably move on to what we do. I'm a former assistant head teacher. Also worked as a vice principal consultant in the schools in Buckinghamshire. Also former head of maths. And after some time, I decided to move out and see what I can do with information and knowledge in terms of transferring it back to Africa. But I'm also a pastor. I'm the senior pastor of Fountain Gate Chapel, UK, and in charge of all the international churches of Fountain Gate Chapel outside Ghana.
Okay, hold that thought. We have a caller, and then we'll come back to you to complete. Hello? Hello? Hello, you still there? I guess he's not. Okay. So we'll come back to you, Pastor Grant. Sorry about that, because they had been holding on for a while. And caller, if you want to call back, please, and apologies that we kept you holding for a little bit longer. Sorry, sir.
That's fine. That's what we do.
Yes.
Yes. When I left full-time teaching, I decided to put together my experience and my knowledge and expertise and see what I can do and back to Ghana and Africa especially. Put at least investing back to the country that actually contributed to making who I am. And so we started Neogenics Education. And Neogenics made up of two words, Neo and Genics. So Neo standing for light and Genics standing for attraction, like a photogenic person. So we beam the light, we beam the truth, we beam knowledge so we can attract people to it. We do just 6 things. We into educational consultancy, we're into training, we are into educational events, we're into education media, we're into advocacy, and then also teaching resources. That's what basically we do.
Sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds amazing. There's a lot of stuff that's involved in that. And how many years experience did you say you have?
Started teaching in London since 2001.
Wow.
So this is about 17 years now. I still go in to mentor teachers and also train middle leaders. I also do some bit of advocacy for ethnic black community in terms of parents who have issues with their children.
Yes.
My recent work was with a child who was close to permanent exclusion. I had to come in to just try to manage and do a managed move from one school to the other, so he doesn't have a permanent record of.
Did the school call you to do that, or
no,
the parent?
Yes,
involves
I
you?
do advocacy for black parents.
Okay, so that's important for parents to actually know, because once they're sent to a different school, it actually affects them in the future, right?
Yeah, sometimes the write-up and the report they write to support the permanent exclusion.
Yeah.
Parents don't really understand the language, and some of the details are not probably right. So I remember one of the schools I went in, when I took it, I realized now the investigation wasn't done properly because I understood where it was coming from. So I really spoke to the leadership team. You know what, I can take this on into a tribunal, and you will get yourself in trouble because there are some lapses here and there. So we agreed on a marriage move, and that was happy. Everybody was happy with that.
Fantastic. I've got a caller on the line now, and this is Vera Tunes. Vera Tunes is a lady that we played her song not too long ago, Temini Tire Ife. How are you?
Good morning all. I'm fine, and yourself?
I'm good, thank you. Have you been listening in?
Yes, I have.
And what are your thoughts?
Basically on the youth crime?
Yeah. I know you have a daughter.
Yes, I
do. Do you have any... Is there any, I don't know, what are your fears in terms of her growing up in certain areas or mixing with certain people? And have you had people that have been affected by the knife crimes?
Well, I haven't had anyone directly within my circle that's been affected by the knife crime. But it is almost like an epidemic, isn't it, now?
Yeah,
I mean, just
26 since January. Yep. And when I kind of divided that's like 8 a month.
Yeah. I mean, I was reading up an article a few weeks ago, and basically the rise in crime in England and Wales is just accelerating. You know, according to police figures, it shows about 14% year-on-year increase.
14%?
Yeah, in the offences recorded by the forces across England and Wales.
Yeah.
It's quite scary, really, to think that there's actually an acceleration in that rate. So when you think about it, are we saying 2020, we'll be getting up to, 20% or so? That is scary. Like you said, I have a minor. She's just going to turn 7. And it's scary to even think of having another child, let me put it like that.
Oh, wow.
Because you just want to be able to, as a parent, I want to be able to have undivided attention to each child that I have, and if I have the one, I'd rather devote that attention to that one child and making sure she's protected, she's safe.
Yeah.
Wherever she goes. I mean, at the age that she is now, I'm consistently teaching her, things about not talking to strangers, just being careful, where you go, don't accept things from, people. And literally, everything starts from home, I say, because when you put your children in school, the system teaches your children. You don't have time for your children.
Yeah.
You have to make the time, because if you think about an average 2.1 mum that goes to work, drops to school at breakfast club in the morning, the only time you have to communicate is when you say your prayers in the morning or you're driving in a car. And then on the way back home, you literally have a couple of hours from after school till bedtime. So there is actually limited time for parents to teach their parents, but we have to make that effort.
Yeah, we do.
So
let me put the question to Pastor. Do you feel that, because Vera just mentioned about schools, that it's up to us to take responsibility in the home. And you mentioned that the school, there were some failings and they were quick to kind of like dismiss the child and take certain actions. What are your thoughts around that?
Right.
In terms of how you know the schools to operate, do you think they are biased? Do you think they do help our children, or they don't really know because they're not? Maybe some of the teachers are not from our community, so there's no.
Obviously,
it's not relatable.
Look, a teacher responds to a child based on the degree of parental involvement. If I set homework and I don't get any response from parents, or parents even I don't see parents attending, it just shows that parents don't really show much interest, and that affects even the school's expectation of the child. And it takes a lot of effort to repair a child than to mold a child. Right. So if you
I like that. It takes a lot of effort
to repair
a child
than to mold a child. The child's growing up. There are a lot of factors, a lot of agencies involved. The government, the parent, that's the home, the school, and the society at large tends to influence the way the child develops. So the child's perspective is formed, let's say, after 14 years. His perspective, his opinion, his ideology, his philosophy is formed.
So it's all fixed from the age of 14.
It becomes more difficult to influence the child.
Interesting.
That is why we need to do a lot, right, from birth to when you're about 14.
Yes, sir.
Right? You know, even in secondary school, you know, when you're 14, that's when they choose their subjects.
Yeah.
They decide what to do, because then they have made up their mind. They've seen all they need to see.
Yeah.
If families don't sit down to eat around table, if you want to introduce it, it becomes difficult.
On you were saying that he felt that's one of the biggest problems, where it's not cohesive.
Yeah.
So you don't know where you probably fit in, because there's no consistency in the home.
So for me, I believe children don't fail. Children don't fail. Parents, governments, churches, religious leaders, schools, and parents fail children. Children take the form of the environment. They're just like water. It takes the form of the container it takes. So if you decide not to create the right environment, because they learn by what they see. Of course.
That's true.
If they see failure around them. I was speaking somewhere, I told some family that you have to choose your family friends strategically, because if you have family friends and none of their children have been to university, the child grows to think that's the norm.
Yeah, you
don't need to
aspire.
aspire.
The same thing with marriage, I think, as well, where if you don't see that around you, 100%. You don't aspire to it. You don't understand
so
it.
The children tend to grow with low expectations. So we need to expose them to reality, expose them to success, expose them to achievement, because they grow to become who they've seen and been influenced by.
Yeah, like you said, you become who you hear.
Yeah, exactly. Your ears will determine who you become.
Yes. I just wanted to mention that if the lines are busy, you can send us a voice note or a text message to our WhatsApp number, which is 07887 475 940. That's 07887 475 940. And you can also WhatsApp your tweet your comments on Twitter, which is ABN Radio UK, and also on Instagram as well. So Vera, what do you think about that? Do you have nephews, brothers?
Yes, I have a younger brother who's much older now.
Okay.
But to be honest, if I'm brutally honest, he got into a lot of trouble growing up.
Was your dad around, if you don't mind me asking?
No, my dad is late, actually. But
okay, do you think that was one of the issues?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay.
I would say so. Mainly because even I myself didn't grow up with my dad. But my brother had a kind of resentment towards my dad, you know, the whole, why did you leave, and I don't want to know you kind of thing. So I think that played a part in his thinking, regardless of how much my mom tried as a single parent. And he just got into the hands of the wrong people. Though I saw my mom, you know, I mean, coming from an African home, you hear the usual, if you don't do very well, I'll send you on ticket back to Nigeria.
Yes.
And that
was also always the threat.
That doesn't work.
Yeah.
That was one of the flaws that I saw within my mom. But at a younger age, I picked that up. And I was able to know what the difference was. And now that I'm a mom, I would never say that to my daughter. It's about sitting her down and understanding what she's going through.
Yeah, so no threats.
Yeah. It just makes them even more rebellious.
Empty threats.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, if you want to do that, do that. As long as I die, it's okay. even down to smacking your child. It gets to a point where it's like, oh, okay, I did something wrong, you're going to beat me, here's my hand, just smack me.
It's true. All I'm going to do is cry. It's going to hurt for a bit. Yeah.
Just get your own cane, though. You used to do that.
I mean, going back to the whole social media thing, and and our kids being very, very focused on that these days.
Yeah.
I punish my child with regards to, you can't have your tab, you can't watch TV. When you get home, do your homework. You're having your dinner early, and you're going to bed. It's as simple as that.
But you ensure there's a routine.
Exactly.
So what about mothers who have to work?
Yeah,
and
I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that. But you know what? I work, so
yeah.
It's about finding a balance. You have to strike a balance. Fine, I have the one child, and it may be easier for me compared to a mom that has 3 children. But there has to be a balance. The reason why we're women is because we can multitask. We're gifted like that. We have to be able to strike a balance. Yes, I know there's time for you to rest and there's time for you to have time for yourself. But you know what? Your children are your investment. Your children are your future. If you don't give them what they need right now at a young age, they will end up, you won't have any investment. You won't have any assets. My child is 7. But I keep her extremely busy. When I say that, I mean she goes to ballet on Saturday, and she goes to tap dance on Saturday, she goes swimming.
Oh, she goes to ballet.
Yeah.
What was your reason for choosing ballet and not netball or something?
Well, she's almost going to the same line as my entertainment thing. So I see some stuff in her in terms of dance. So I nurture what is in her. Unlike when we grew up, it was like, without education, you're nothing. If you don't study, you can't be this, you can't be that.
Okay.
Whereby I have this philosophy where I feel like if I see something that is natural in my daughter, I will nurture that and make sure she's best at that. Influencing her going to university or having an education. Because when I graduated, I didn't use my degree. My mom just said, say hello to my degree. I'm not using that right now. Do you understand? Because if I'd known about my music career earlier, I would have nurtured it even more up until now. And but you know what? Everything happens for a reason.
It does.
Reason and timing. So like I said, it's all from home. It's all from but the funny thing is, there are parents that actually tell their children and teach their children, but you know what? The children still fall prey, mainly because of what they see outside.
Yeah.
They see outside. So I can't blame the parents for everything. You do get children that do get enticed by what they see outside because they want to be like, or they want to have like. But really, you don't know what everybody's struggle is like.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it, really. But
okay, this sounds good. Oh, you wanted to say something?
Yes. I like what Vera mentioned about, if you get in trouble, we can take you back to Nigeria. And I thought this came to me. Growing up, my generation, our parents would threaten us. We'll go back to Africa, go back to Nigeria. We're going to take you back to Nigeria or Ghana or whatever. But it's fascinating. But we was poor. so if you can gain that money to take us back home, because I'm going somewhere, because 2 months ago I went on holiday, just chilled out, very nice break in Gran Canaria, and I was sitting by the poolside and I didn't see no black families. All I saw was white families. I saw the mother, father, 2 children just having a laugh, and I thought to myself, how many of our families really, we can threaten them to go back home but go out as a family and say, okay, let's go to Spain, let's go to Tenerife.
Shared experiences.
I was watching a young boy swim, and I said to myself, this guy's going to be an Olympic swimmer, and they're going to ask him, when did you learn to swim? Oh, I went on holiday with my family. And listen to them, there wasn't like rich upper class. So I think sometimes we say, I'm going to take you back to Nigeria, I'm going to take you back to Ghana. So you've got money to do that, but how about we come together as a family and we go on holiday? And then she mentioned, I love about, when you come home, if you're in trouble, no social media. One of my friends, he's got an app. I can't remember the name of the app, but what he does, by 7 o'clock in his house, there's no internet access. There's a I think a wall file, whatever it's called, that comes up, and the children cannot access no internet. They cannot go social media.
I like that.
They do their homework. They sit down as a family. I think by 8:30, 9 o'clock, after family time, sleep. So you haven't got no phone in your room. And is it the same app? I can't remember what it's called. You can actually look at what your children are doing online.
Yeah, same as my daughter. You can get a record of the day, what she's done during the day. It's called the Class Dojo.
Yes.
And I can check on that and see how she's progressing, if she gets 100% during the week, or what she was called out for and why she got a red dojo. So we discussed that when we get home. And she knows, when she gets home, if there's a red dojo on your dojo, you're allowed to have up to 80%, don't get it wrong, every day is not 100%. But I will need to know the reason why 20% was missing, why it was a red doja. But she automatically knows. When she gets to, Mom, I had a red doja today. I know. I'm going to have my dinner, I'll go to bed early. It's okay, I know. So she knows what's working, but we still talk about it. Teacher said you were calling out in class, or you were being rude on the carpet. You were not listening to your friends. And we discussed that. And I think that's a great incentive as well for parents to check on the children, see how they're getting on along the day and the week as well.
Okay, we have another caller. Let's just try and get this call. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, who's calling? And where are you calling from?
Hi, yeah, my name is Bright. I'm calling from London.
Okay.
I was listening to the program, and I think it's quite an interesting discussion this morning.
Yes.
On the knife crime. The question I keep asking myself whilst listening is that why is it that it's very severe in the black community? That's one question I've been asking myself.
Why do you? What conclusion have you come up with? Why do you think that is?
Yeah, because I've been asking that, and I'm thinking, is it because most black youth think they are not part of the society? Does it link to racism? I don't know. I've been asking myself these questions. It could be a yes or no answer to these questions. And what I'm thinking is, because of the sense of belonging that is missing in their society or in their peers, they feel, okay, this is what I would do for me to be heard. Because some of them just do it so that their names are heard, because they are gangs. So the gangs, they want to be heard. They want to know that this gang, this person is the head of the gang or is part of this gang, and I want to be heard. You know, so they just try to do things for their fellow gang members.
Okay, so they want to feel important.
Yeah, they want to feel important. So I just heard in the news this morning that the government is giving £1 million to support.
Yeah, they're giving £1 million to social media campaigns.
Social media, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I know that won't help too much, but it will help in a way if they are going to partner with YouTube and say, YouTube, take off all knife crime videos from your platform, YouTube platform. Make sure anybody who uploads knife crime videos are taken down instantly. And if government is able to do that, then I will say, okay, that will help fight the knife crime on social media. Apart from that, I don't see how that's going to help.
Pastor, do you want to say something? Because I don't think that's possible. If they can't even stop pedophiles from getting through on YouTube, I doubt if they're going to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that we're living in days where we go underground wells. So even with crime, I wonder how much of it is within visibility of YouTube or other stuff, because we've got a lot of things that happen behind the scene. And for me, my question would be, who is going to be leading this initiative? Is the money going to be given to blacks? And I've seen a lot of these initiatives gone through the mail without any effect. We've never heard of the impact, the positive impact, and all that. And I think that we need to be talking to black communities as to what we can do. We need to own it. If it's true, the most majority of that is happening within black communities, we need to own it. We need to have a voice. We need to come out. And we don't need the government to raise up money to help us nip this in the bud. Back in Africa, we say a child is born into a community.
Yeah.
You don't need to have a father or a mother to have somebody correcting you. We need to have that community spirit back. They've been divisive, and they've divided the black community to such a point that we can't even work together.
Yeah.
You bring blacks together, and everybody wants to be a leader. Everybody wants to be a voice. Everybody wants to be the one who is going to be seen. We don't understand what it means leading from the back, leading from the middle, or leading from the front.
It's like you're both in sync, because before you came, Onion was really emphasizing on that, that everybody wants to be in charge, everybody wants to be the boss, everyone wants to be the man.
That is true. There's so much confusion, and nothing thrives in confusion.
No.
If there's confusion, nothing would definitely thrive. Look at our leaders. Our countries in Africa are full of money, but yet still we are poor.
Yes.
Right. So we need to come back to ourselves. It's not about living in England. You can be in England and still have a mindset of...
It's the mentality of the mindset.
Exactly. So we need to own it. It's not about just the money. They can push in money, put in money, but still the root cause needs to be dealt with.
But what is leadership? So for my measure of distinction, I said the following 3 things. Leadership, distinction in leadership isn't about me, myself and I. Distinction in leadership is about him, her and them. As Pastor mentioned, Africa is all about me, myself and I. I mean, take, gimme, my name is Jimmy. So, or in that case, my name is Ola. in that part of town, it's not really Jimmy, but more Ola, Imeka. So, distinction in leadership is not about me, myself, and I. Distinction in leadership is about him, her, and them. But what is leadership? Leadership is, and these are all my own quotes, by the way. Leadership is bringing people into new realms of excellence and challenging them to become distinguished in their chosen field. And finally, what is leadership? Leadership isn't about age, but rather leadership is about influence, impact and inspiration. Once we understand this ideology, and me, it's only by the grace of God, I'm just a young man who was born and raised in East London, but I believe these ideologies. It's not about age. So for the person that's leading, it's not how old or young you are, and the young people as well, is about influence, impact and inspiration. And it's not about me, myself and I. It's not about being selfish, it's about being selfless. Once we understand that as a community, remember Indians, in 1960, some of them, their restaurants were founded in 1965 at the height of racism, sorry. But why is it that restaurants, their community is still thriving now? They were here with black people, when they said no blacks, no dogs, no Irish. The Indian people were getting persecuted like black people, but yet many of their restaurants are still around from 1965. Why? They understand leadership.
Bright, do you think we've answered your question?
Well, yes, you have. Well, in conclusion, what I want to say is that we normally say that the devil finds work for the ideal hand.
Yeah.
So these youth or those people involving themselves in crime, obviously because they don't have much to do. They may be in school, they may be in uni, they may be in colleges, but that is it. Obviously they don't have much to do, that's why they are involving themselves in crime. So if the government can help find things for them to do, like give them what it is that is their heart desire that they want to do, so that they can be involved in something, so they take their mind off crime. Because if you are busily working on your dream, I don't think you think about going to stop.
I think Pastor wants to come in because most of these children are in school.
Yeah, let me tell you
They're
what.
supposed to be in school.
There are about just, let's say, 10% of young people who are straying and probably in issues and involved in gun and knife crimes. Schools are full of opportunities. I mean, there are endless opportunities. If you want to even go to Parliament and observe, there are opportunities, a lot of opportunities for young people. We just need to have the right community for young people to thrive. If a young person has a community mentor who aspires him, for example, when when I used to be involved, actively involved in young people's ministry back in the days in around 2007, I used to have one-to-one mentorship for all the young people, and you had to complete a review form and let me know what your dream is. You need to write down your mission, your vision, what you want to be, and then there were about 50 skills that you have to have by the time you are 30. And every year they have to review. I had a 1 hour review for every young person. Let me know how much you have moved. What is the mileage in your purpose?
Yes, sir.
How much have you traveled in that purpose? So if bicycle riding was what you're supposed to learn, you have to learn it. So there was a goal, there was a purpose, right? So we need that community intentionally initiated atmosphere to bring up young people in the way that they should go. Most of them are just longing for acceptance.
Yes, that's
they're
what
looking
it is.
for someone they can relate
someone to affirm them,
a significant other. We call it psychology significant other. Somebody they can look up to. How many? We talk about black celebrities, but they are all looking for something for their stomach. There's nothing like black community. And behind every black community is a white man or a white woman remotely who's manipulating the baton. So at the end of it all,
if they have to, none of them would do this selflessly.
Let me get you to hold that thought. Now, we've got so many calls coming and we have so many points. We're going to extend the show for another half an hour because it's an important topic, right?
Of course.
And I think we'll probably review this topic again in the next couple of weeks. But I'm going to go on a quick break. We'll do our news break and then we'll come back. About in a half an hour, so you guys got enough time to kind of summarize this. And Bright, are you okay to still hold on with us?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Okay. And Vera, are you okay as well? When we come back, we'll round up with you, and then we'll try and get a bit more info about what you're up to as well. We don't want to forget that aspect. You can tell us what your mum said when you said you're going to start singing.
Sure.
Okay, we're just going to have a quick break now.
All right.
ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station.
More news, more information. This is ABN News on the Hour.
From the Sky News Centre at 10, the EU is recalling its ambassador to Moscow following the Salisbury nerve agent attack. The European Council has agreed with Britain that Russia was probably responsible for the poisoning of double agent Sergei Skripal and his daughter. Obesity could soon be the leading cause of death from cancer as more people become overweight. Cancer Research UK says it could overtake smoking with fewer people lighting up. It's urging people to make changes such as eating more fibre and reducing exposure to the sun. Jade Pearson was diagnosed with melanoma in her 20s.
Before this happened, I think I had it in my head that life owed me a certain amount of time. And when it happened, it was a wake-up call because then I realised it didn't owe me anything at all. You've got to take responsibility. I wanted a tan, but it hasn't been worth it. And I just want people to realise that.
After a week in which 8 people were stabbed to death in London, there's a new government campaign aimed at cutting attacks. The £1 million social media initiative will tell stories of young people who've previously carried blades. Minister for Crime, Safeguarding and Vulnerability is Victoria Atkins.
We want young people to just think twice before they pick up that knife, a decision that could change their lives forever. And so this campaign has been created with charities who work with young people to try and educate and prevent knife crime.
There's been another high-profile departure from the White House. President Trump is replacing National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster with former US Ambassador John Bolton. MPs are calling for the first black British Army officer to be awarded a posthumous military cross. They say that Walter Tull, who fought in the First World War, wasn't honoured earlier because of racism at the time. And England's cricketers were helped by the rain in their attempt to avoid defeat in the opening test of their series with New Zealand. Play was abandoned on day 2 with the hosts on 229 for 4 in Auckland. That's the latest. I'm Laura Safe.
Tune in to the new ABN Breakfast Show on Monday from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. The London City Show has evolved into an all-new breakfast show with sizzling slices of juicy newsy current affairs served with junior jumbo-sized convos on issues you should be aware of. What did I just say? The ABN Breakfast Show, the Afropolitan breakfast you can't afford to miss.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart ripped out of a family. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred, it's about staying alive. Drop that knife, save your life.
It's time for the conference we've all been waiting for, the Diamonds Conference 2018, themed Unbreakable, on the 24th of March 2018 at 12 noon at the Plush Auditorium, TBC Oasis House, 5 to 9 Peel Road, Croydon, CR03EX. A powerful time of 360 degrees of motivation and change from your crown to your heart. It will be a time of motivation, word, healing and worship with your host Ruth Appiah Matthew and special guest Reverend Kingsley Appiah. Plus exclusive workshops from industry experts from fashion, beauty, love and relationships. Guest artists Shekinah and much more. Early bird tickets are only £15, standard tickets £21. Get your tickets now at www.thediamondsconference.com. Funds go to Hope Centre Orphanage. The Diamonds Conference, the exclusive ladies event of the year. See you there.
Making diamonds out of us.
Welcome back to the Discourse, where we've had to extend the show because we've got so much to talk about. And this morning we've been talking about knife crime within the community and how we can stop this, so why this is happening and what can be done to stop this. And we've been hearing from the news that there's been 25 murders from knife crime since the new year, and work that out, that's about 8 a month. We have Pastor Grant here with us in the studio. We have the lovely Oni also here with us. We've got Vera Tunes on the line. We've got one of our callers, Bright, also on the line. It's a busy line today, and I'm so thankful for everyone that's called in and texting and tweeting, because it is an important issue. Now, until we are the change, nothing's going to change. So I guess it's time that we also, I can't forget, we also had Junior Spence, who is doing an event today, and it's praying for the youth, and it's around Hackney, where this is also happening. It's quite prevalent more in Hackney, I think, and they're doing praying for the youth campaign, and they've got a service this evening at 7:30 at Liberty Church. So a lot of people doing a lot of things, but how can we bring it all together? How can we all come together to see and measure what we're doing? Is it really working? And everybody comes with their this is what I've learned, this is what you've learned, let's compare and let's see how, you know?
Right. As a pastor, I think the church has a strong role and a key role to play. The church is the vehicle where everybody, depending on your background, your profession, you are prepared to offer your service for free. Outside the church, you want to take money.
It's true. You do demand for
Definitely. But within the church, you are okay to offer as a charity, with a charitable spirit. You want to support. And I've seen a lot of churches, to be frank with you, if you did an audit of our children's services, you'll be amazed that about 60 to 70% of churches don't cater for children.
Interesting.
Parents just use the Sunday school as a parking lot where they dump their children. So, trust me, the average church attendance of a child spiritually, it's about 26 hours a year. From my research.
Okay.
Wow. Right. Now, how can a child build a whole destiny on 26 hours of spiritual input in their life? So the church has a responsibility. We need to go back to our children's ministry. Our children's Sunday school services go on even without teachers. The average church attendance is dwindling. Most parents getting late, so by the time the child goes to children's services, they've missed most part of it. So the church has a responsibility. We need to let the children know who God is. We need that God factor. How many second generation Christians, African Christians, can start a church from the scratch? No. And trust me, a lot of those wave, the wave of all those people came from Africa, started church, filling the spiritual vacuum in Africa. They are growing old. And that move is extincting. We need to go back on our knees and invest in our children. Now, by now, I expected that organizations like Evangelical Alliance, we should have had our own football club. Because our children want to play football, they are talented, but they can't go and play it on Sundays. If we had our own academies, football and sports academies, we would have children loving church on Sunday and rewarding them with their sports activity. But we don't even have those.
So can I just say, from what you're saying, what I'm getting from what you're saying is that the church is not relatable. The church is not relating to what children need in order to then be able to get into their psyche. You've got to be inviting as well, I guess. In order,
we need to be reaching out. We need to find out what the children like. We need to get them leading stuff.
The normal stuff is not going to work anymore.
Right from when they are born, when they are in the Sunday school. Now, our Sunday school shouldn't be dictated. They shouldn't dictate to the children. We should create an environment that is really stimulating. They want to love God. They want to love church. The activities should not be boring. We need to be creative. Now, that's what led me to develop the level 1, level 2, level 3 in the high impact children's ministry, where we are teaching Sunday school teachers how to make the Sunday school exciting. Right. Now we need to get that back, where the Sunday school is very exciting. The children are really looking forward to it every day. Because if the child doesn't want to go to church, mom doesn't want to go to church as well. Now, trust me, Muslims, I know we have Muslim listeners, but our friends, Muslims. The child goes to school, after he's finished, back to the mosque. Goes to the mosque every day.
Every day?
Every day in some communities. Every day. And I'm wondering why can't Christian parents have Sunday school teachers as private tutors? We pay money for children to learn how to do maths, learn English at home, but we don't want to pay money for Christian education. Now, it comes from the spiritual factor as well. So I will start with the church, because we are very instrumental when it comes to our community, the black community.
Okay.
Faith plays a great role. You will see the black parent in church all night speaking in tongues, and the child is by themselves.
Sorry, Pastor, to cut you. That's one of my things where it's like we stay in church shouting amen and amen. If you don't do the work, nothing's going to happen.
Pastor mentioned about how that generation that came has died. Thankfully, my church, as I mentioned, SPAC Nation, we have to be the yardstick. We're changing things.
He's your pastor, is my friend.
Yeah, Pastor Toby, I didn't know.
No wonder you're connecting somehow.
So we've had to change the many people are angry. Well, that's life. But we have to change the understanding of what church is. Not just an empty building on a Sunday. We're speaking in tongues, praying hallelujah. It's for the community. There's 1 million and plus young people out there that are dying on the streets of East London, West London, North London, and they need mentorship, what was providing. They need discipleship. They need, okay, let's help you with your business plan. They need help with jobs, career development. They just want to be loved. When you go to church and you see gang members dropping knives and dropping drugs on the altar, giving their life to Christ, that's when you know revivals come. Yeah. It's not church as usual. This is unusual church. This is the book of the book of Acts. This is the Acts of the Apostle. When the Bible said there was, I'm not a preacher by the way, but there was no poor among them. Why? Because the church before, only one man got rich. But now it's about there was no poor among them. So when there's an offering raising, it's not to do this or do that. It's for the community.
So to empower everyone else.
Of course, that's what the church was.
Let me try and bring Vera into this. I'm gonna flip it a little bit, because you said it's about the church, and parents bringing their children to church. And Junior Spence earlier mentioned that he deals with a lot of single mothers. Could it be a case of maybe the church has turned their backs on single parents as well, so they don't feel welcome? What do you think, Vera?
Well, it's funny you said that, because I was married, now separated, and it was quite a bitter separation. But it's funny because we went to the same church, and I could tell you categorically, not one person from that church reached out to me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not one person from the church reached out to me. Meanwhile, my ex-partner still goes to that church. He's getting all the attention. He's getting all the love. He's getting all the, support, whereby I haven't heard from anybody from that church, not even from the bishop. And I was an active member of that church. I sang in a choir week in and week out. So I've had to, if not for my upbringing and being mentally strong and having a child and thinking to myself, you know what, my life doesn't depend on myself anymore. There's a little girl looking up to me. I think I would have broken down a lot more than where I am today. But because I had a child and I wanted the brighter future for her, I want her to strive. I want her to see me working hard and know what hard work is. And how to work smart, as you said earlier, is why I'm continuing the chase. Is why I'm not giving up. Is why I chose to work as well as chase my dreams and just not let my dreams die. Because I could have wallowed in that whole bitterness and just feel sorry for myself. But I chose to pick up myself, despite the fact that I didn't grow up with a dad as well. So I think it's all in the mind as well.
Yeah,
you
it's a mental.
You have to be determined as a person that, you know what, this is what my neighbor did, this is what my brother did, this is what this person did. I want to be better than that. But that also comes with a strong will, because not everybody's built the same.
Yeah.
So you have to be determined. It all starts with your mind, really.
So do you attend any church now?
I go to Hillsong.
Okay.
Mainly because at some point I felt like, the black community was not coming together. The blacks were neglecting their own. I did feel that rejection. So I decided to start going to a white church where I felt more accepted, where I felt like you were not being judged for your past or for your future or for who you are now.
Okay.
And I was getting the support. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So I go to Hillsong in Birmingham, and I feel at home there.
Okay.
I feel at home there.
Let's bring Bright in. Bright, do you feel that black churches do that? Do you think they place a lot of judgment on people, and maybe we're not as welcoming as we should be, and that could be part of the factor where you're a single mother and it's looked upon like, oh, how come she's given birth out of wedlock? Sorry. What are your thoughts, Bright? because pastors insistent that the church does need to do more, and Onyi is also from that that viewpoint. And it seems like the church is doing quite well. You are doing the best that you can. But what about those that are maybe not feeling as welcome as they should?
Yes, I strongly agree with you and the caller and the guest on the phone as well. The church nowadays has turned into business. The main purpose of the church has shifted, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because a church is when a proper church is when the pastor has got a one-on-one relationship with members, and if not everybody, majority of them. But nowadays, most of the pastors of these churches don't even know the names of their members, which is very bad. Because when you get closer to your members, that's when you get to know when they are going through problems. That's when you get to encourage them when they are going through challenges, even their youth. When you get closer to them, that is when you get to listen to what they are going through, even at school. Because I say this because most of the youth, this knife crime starts from the school. They are bullied in the beginning.
Yeah.
They are told they are not good enough in school. You know, they are not good enough in academics. So they have that kind of mindset in their mind. They feel that, okay, my friends are telling me they are not good enough. I'm not good enough. So maybe it's true. And unfortunately, some of them don't come out great when they do their exams. So that kind of confirms what they've been told whilst in school. So these things are in their mind. They feel they are worthless. They feel they have no place in society when they finish school, and just unfortunately maybe they don't get a chance to pass as they want, and they feel, well, there's nothing left for me to do in the society. So why not belong to a gang? Why not kill people? Even if I die, I don't care about it. So everything it leads to the other. One of these things leads to the other.
Yeah.
People feel they are worthless in the society. They are bullied. No one is there to encourage them to have a good self-worth, to know that they are worth more than what people are telling them, to believe in themselves and all of that. And the church can play a vital role in that. So now the church rather looks down on people. For instance, if somebody gets pregnant before marriage, the church now criticizes the person instead of encouraging the person and making the person see the brighter side of life, even because it's happened already. You can't take time back. You can't reverse the world. And you are not God to judge, because you don't have to judge people. You don't know what circumstances put the person into that situation. So you have to rather encourage the person instead of judging the person and making the person feel that, well, I'm not good enough because I've gone to have a baby. So
I think we'll probably have another discussion around that another day. But thank you so much, Brian. Can you just sum up for me? If you just round up and then
so in a nutshell, I feel that this knife crime can really be minimized or stopped if we are able to empower the youth. If we are able to tell them, instill in them that they are worth more than what they are doing.
Yeah.
Because most people listen to their peers because that is the voices they have. They don't have people like the society, like the church, like people who can help them, empower them to know that you can become somebody, very great as you wish for. Even if you don't pass your exam, even if the things go wrong in your life in the way, there's a brighter future along the way. So keep pressing on, and definitely things will go on well. So we need to be doing these things, and possibly it will help you reduce or stop.
Thank you so much, Bright. As you said, there's a brighter future ahead.
Which is bright.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day. Thank you for calling. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. So Vera, you tell me now, if you can sum it up for me, what is your viewpoint on this topic?
Really, I agree with Bright. It's just empowering the youth, showing them that, there's more to life than what you perceive. Also, investing in what they're good at. Some kids, they can only brighten up when they're actually operating in their elements.
Yeah.
You can't force a child to become a doctor if that's not what they're calling in.
Yes.
So it's about finding out what your child likes, what they enjoy doing, and putting your all into that to make sure they become the best at what they are supposed to be doing. I always encourage people to try and read 5 Love Languages of Children.
Oh, there's a 5 Love Languages of Children.
Yes, there are 5 Love Languages of Children. If you can apply that and figure out what your children's love language is, they'll understand how to relate to them, how to show them love, and how they receive love. I think if a lot of parents invest in that, it can help a lot in terms of understanding their children and helping them to grow, basically.
Fantastic. Vera, thank you so much. How can people get your single? Because we were like, Tirini, 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 Tirini.
Well, you can find me on all social media platforms at, my handle is at Vera, Vera, _tunes. My song is available on all audio platforms. You can purchase them on iTunes, Spotify, Google. You just type in Vera and you'll be able to find my songs. And I'll also be performing tonight at a show in Camberwell Lighthouse. It's a comedy show, Daddy 11. So I'll be there tonight performing, so please do come out.
I just want to say well done. This is one I'm so proud of. It's like hard work beats talent.
Wow.
She has not stopped pursuing her passion.
Awesome.
You know, you're working full time, you're doing this, you're raising your child. Awesome. Like, round of applause.
Well done,
you know?
Blessed.
Thank you so much.
Well done.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye. Okay, Pastor Grant, and I mean, let's talk some more about. You were talking about your 3-step program.
The level 1, level 2, level 3. Yes, high impact. Children's ministry certificate. Yes, we
give them a certificate as well.
Yeah,
nice.
It's a whole course I run. I had pastor friends coming to me and said, "Well, you've done a lot with mainstream education in schools. What can you do? What can we learn from you in order to develop our Sunday school teachers?" So I put together level 1, 2, and 3. So at the moment we are on a city-to-city show. We've done 2 of them in London. We'll be doing Leicester, then Birmingham. So, but if we have a group of churches come together, we run the course for them. And not only in the UK, we're doing it in Ghana as well, in Nigeria. So we run training.
Fantastic.
Yeah, training for Sunday school teachers, because we believe that is the whole spiritual hub for developing children. Yeah. And if we fail them at the church level, where else? Right. Just to add to that, there's a point that I came across some time ago, years ago, and that's really helped me in parenting. And it says, if a child lives with criticism, he learns to condemn. If a child lives with hostility, he learns to fight. If a child lives with fear, he learns to be apprehensive. If a child lives with pity, he learns to feel sorry for himself. If a child lives with ridicule, he learns to be shy. If a child lives with jealousy, he learns what envy is. If a child lives with shame, he learns to feel guilty. If a child lives with encouragement, he learns to be confident. If a child lives with tolerance, he learns to be patient. If a child lives with praise, he learns to appreciate. If a child lives with acceptance, he learns to love. There's quite a lot in there, right? So children are only responders or reactors. They respond to what happens around them.
Yeah.
If you let them into an environment that is inhibitive, they tend to react.
Yeah.
But if you create the enabling environment, they'll be the stars that we want to see. Yeah. I've seen children that have support. I remember I had a Nigerian boy in year 10. And by the time he was in year 10, he had been excluded over 20 times.
What?
Wow. Right? And no teacher really could have him in a lesson for 1 hour.
Why?
Adiola.
It was just disruptive for no reason.
No, and obviously he has issues.
Yeah.
And so I got a point where I decided to have him in my class, and at the time I was teaching maths set 3, and that was about 7-8 years ago.
Yeah.
So I asked that if I could have him, right? And when I had him in my class, he was in the bottom set, but I brought him to set 3. Now, they were talking about 7 sets. I got him to set 3 and decided to have a chat with the parents and behind the school.
Were both parents around?
Yeah.
Okay.
And told them, look, I want to volunteer 1 hour a week to come to your house and support this child. I would teach him maths. I would help him get himself in order in terms of planning, teach him some few skills here and there. I started with just 1 hour. Now, out of all the subjects he was entered for in GCSE, he failed every subject except my subject, maths.
Wow.
He had a C, and that was the only grade that he left school with.
Wow.
My subject. He was predicted a G. He got a C.
Amazing.
Right. Now, that tells you, look, no child is a failure.
No.
Create the right environment around the child. You know, when we did this gun and knife crime campaign and all that, we had a lot of young people coming to church. You see them dropping their rap music and all that. And you see, I really say most of the things that influence the children is the music as well.
Yeah.
Take the music out of the way. Give them good music. It inspires them, because music is the only thing by which information can get into your brain without your permission. Right, because it's compelling. It doesn't need your approval.
Yeah.
Some of us here, we know some lyrics, we know some songs, you know it. I remember my child one day just got out and started singing, "I see you, baby." I said, "Where's that from?" That's a pastor's son. And it was just about 3-4 years ago. You know, those days, you know, I'm on TV, isn't it? "I see you, baby." I said, "Daddy, that song is nice." I said, "Please." You know, so it starts with the music as well, right? You know, and we got these people coming to church after hearing a message of love, hearing a message of acceptance. They came off from the street, dropped their gun and their rap and all that sort of music on the stage. They dropped their, and most of them are married now. Some of them are pastors, others are doing ministry around. So it's all about environment, and they need it. You know, they need that environment to thrive. But then it's
also about you, because you were selfless enough to give up your time to empower another child. That's commendable. How many of us can say we can freely do that?
Right, let me tell you this. If I didn't do it, and one day I went to a hospital and met a man who portrays to be the doctor and probably the nominated doctor to act on me on surgery, and that doctor happens to be this child, what will I do? Will I still have faith in this boy that he can actually conduct surgery on me? Now, so every child in our community, we must own their whole destiny. We are part of it, because you never know who you meet. You never know who's going to be driving the bus that you're going to sit in, right? So we all have to get involved. Apart from that, you see, when I was growing up, I was involved in guns as well back in Africa. The guns are not only here. I got stabbed at the back of my head. I still have the mark there. I use it to share with my children, right? And it's been there. It's just that we don't get publicity for those sort of things that back in the days. But I have the experience, right? That got me into a whole lot of things. I've sold drugs before. I've been on drugs before. By year 7 in Ghana, in Ghana boarding school, I was selling marijuana. I was smoking it. I was doing all kinds of
things. By what age? 7?
By year 7. By year 11 years old. I was involved in all kinds of that, right? Because my teachers felt that I couldn't amount to anything. As I speak, the only maths and science, math, science, English that I learned formally was in primary school. I've never had a primary maths teacher after primary school, right? But yet still, when I came to this country, I proved it. I became head of maths after 3 years. Wow. Right? The only English teacher I had was in primary school. Right, so it was a form of communicating my resentment. Right, every inappropriate behavior is communication.
Yes.
No child behaves inappropriately. They have a message, just that they don't know how to communicate it. So you need to understand the objective of that inappropriate behavior and put it within context. So once you can contextualize the behavior, you are ready to help that child solve it and come up. So I've been a lot. So because of that, I've been into a lot of things. So I play instruments. The man here knows me. I'm a musician. I play bass. I play guitar. I dance. I went into dance and I went to radio. I went to video because I had no direction. So I was just finding anything I could have. I can edit video. I've done music production. I've written songs before. I write books. I'm an author. I write for teachers. I write for churches. I don't know what I haven't done, right? But because there was nobody to guide me, so I was just doing anything I could do, right? But just that, when I got born again, that is when everything, I began to zoom into what I felt God has called me into, right? So it's important that we all get involved. It doesn't have to be your biological child, but you got to get involved. So.
I'm loving this conversation. We don't have enough time. We've even extended to half an hour. So I just want you guys to just quickly, I've literally have a minute or less. How can we follow you, Pastor Grant? Onyi, how can we follow you? You guys have been a blessing today. So let's round up.
You can find me on Facebook, Grant Bulmo. Grant, Grant, Bulmo, Bulmuo. You can find me on Facebook, on Twitter, G Bulmo, and also my consultancy website is neogenicseducation.com, and I'm also the senior pastor of Fountain Gate Chapel Life Pastures in Tottenham. We're based in Tottenham High Road, and you want to be part of us, you want to see what we do or get in touch with what I do, I can give you my number as well, 0795 808 6575, 0795 808 6575.
Thank you. So you can catch me on
20
my
seconds.
website, www.oamediahouse.com. That's oamediahouse.com. You can find my email, social media, oamediahouse.com.
Thank you so much. I just want to thank everyone who called in, everyone who texted. It's been a great show, and I hope that we can take something away. I am going to do this topic again in the next couple of weeks because it's all about solutions and coming together as a community. And we've said renewing your mindset, empowering a child, being careful of how you speak to a child, and knowing your child's ability also plays an important part. I am Esther Alade, and you have been listening to The Discourse, and we are here with you every Friday from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Although it was 10:30 today, but it was my first day back and I truly enjoyed it, and I wish you all an amazing day ahead. Thank you for joining in. I'm going to play one of the songs from Pastor Grant's project. You got one of the children to sing about knife crime.
Yeah, they all came together, composed a song about 6 different tracks.
So we're going to sign off with that. Enjoy your day.